welcome to Work Friends Podcast. I'm here with my buddy Eli here.
I like the name.
Thank you. Yeah, just came
Yeah.
with it all myself. So
Nice.
but yeah, man. Well, so I think you kind of already know the idea of the show, but the point of this podcast was for me to. I don't really understand what any of my friends do for a living. I don't know what a mechanical engineer. I don't know what that means. Insurance, like
appraiser.
Planes. Yeah, I don't know what that does. So my whole idea for this podcast is just kind of like sit down with my buddies and kind of chat about what they do for a living, how they got there, and what their next steps are. And what
I love the concept. I've actually already listened to you at this point. Have put out the first podcast with CJ.
So this will be episode
2.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I guess you want to jump into it, or
just you want to talk about the Airforce first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So you out of high school, you went to the Airforce, right? That was your first,
So we graduated on a Saturday. And then Monday I shipped out to basic training. So I had absolutely no time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, between high school and shipping out for basic
training. You didn't get that last summer before?
No, I did not get the last summer. Going back now, I wish I would have taken some time, but no.
That's typical though for a lot of military?
I think it all depends on your recruiter, but because the quicker you ship out, the quicker they get their kickback.
Who, like recruiters?
The recruiters. Oh yeah, so recruiters get kickback for how many people they recruit into the military or each branch of service. Yeah. So the quicker you can ship off, the quicker they get their kickback. So they want you, if you go in an office, they want you to ship out as soon as possible.
They're trying to get you out the door the next day.
So I was like, I graduate on this day, and he was like, I have a bus leaving on Sunday.
That's wild.
I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, you said let's go.
Yep. So shipped out on Monday. And
you were 17, 18? Well, 18.
I'm probably 18. So I graduated high school when I was 18. Okay. Yeah. But I left Monday morning. From Richmond, went down to San Antonio, Texas, where the Air Force does their basic training. Mm-hmm. They call it BMT, Basic Military Training.
Okay. I've seen that before, but I never knew what it stood for.
Basic Military Training.
So. Also, I'm an idiot, so I don't know anything. That's another great reason I can do this show, because I have no concept of anything.
It's fine. A lot of people don't. A lot of people, people tell you what they do for a living, and you just don't even think twice about it.
Right over your head.
Right over your head. Yep. So San Antonio, Texas. In the middle of June, July, and August was my 3 months that I was in basic training.
As hot as possible.
It was very, very hot. At the time that I went in, basic training was 9 weeks. They have since upgraded it, and now it's only 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy.
I'm not going to say it's easier now. I've never done it.
It's definitely, I would say, easier now than when I went in, yeah.
I don't know. I've never done either, so.
They had a whole week where you just went and lived in a desert scenario.
Yeah, it's survival.
It was like a fake deployment. And so you kind of lived in this little camp. And there was a communal shower. Yeah. It was fucking hot. Disgusting.
How many dudes were you with?
In my flight, there was about 52 people.
Okay.
But by the end, 41 maybe, 42.
Shit. People can drop out?
Or? They can drop out, but most of them get kicked out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, or kicked back.
Kicked back?
So
another training class?
They classify you there by your week. So whatever week you're in, you're a week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So if you do something bad, you can get kicked. So you'll be a week 4 and then do something bad. You'll get kicked back to week 3.
What do you do?
So you'll move out of your flight with all the guys you've known so far.
They stick you with a bunch of strangers?
They stick you with a bunch of fucking strangers who think you're an outsider.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they call it washed
back.
They hate you. They actually, the preferred term is washed back.
Okay.
I never got washed back, but we definitely did have a guy. So when you first get there, the first morning you're there, they wake you up at 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
After not getting you to bed till midnight. So you're running on 3 hours of sleep.
Hardly anything. Yeah.
The military instructors come through there and just absolutely dump your bag on your fucking bed.
Nice.
Dump everything out of it. They're looking for contraband that you're not supposed to have.
Oh, okay.
So they take your cell phone.
Yeah.
Nowadays you can have your fucking cell phone.
I was gonna ask about that because I thought that was always a thing that you're not supposed to have your cell phone.
Yeah, when I went through, you could not have your cell phone.
That's what I thought.
If you wanted to make a phone call, you had to use a payphone.
Wow.
And call home or write a fucking letter.
Whoa.
Yeah, and now I believe they get their cell phones after 9 p.m. and have them. I don't know how it works now. I may be wrong.
They get them after 9 p.m. because the minutes are free then?
I don't. Wow, throwback right there.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Yeah, they can only call to Sprint people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're running through, dumping all the shit on the beds and everything, looking for stuff that you're not supposed to have. Mm-hmm. And people will try to hide stuff.
Of course.
And so we're probably week 3 or 4 at this point, and a guy gets caught with a whole bunch of candy bars.
Well, they're all 18-year-old kids.
Yeah, they're all, well, a couple of them were 30-year-old guys.
Oh, no shit.
So,
I've been thinking about joining up.
The age limit, I guess, to join up is It was 32
Now
for active duty, and then it was like 40 for reserves. Yeah. So we
35 now? Or?
I want to say it's 35 now. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, we definitely had some older guys in there.
Yeah.
A lot of younger guys though. A lot of guys fresh out of high school, just like me. But yeah, so they're running through, dumping the bags, looking for stuff. It was wild. So depending on how bad the offense was, you would get washed all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
Or you would get washed back like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3, like depending on
how long was it again? It's 4 weeks total.
9 weeks.
9 weeks
yeah.
total.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you get to week 8 and you fuck up.
Yeah.
And you get sent back to week 1.
It depends. Like again, depending on how severe the offense was,
okay,
you would get kicked all the way back. So as soon as we got there, we were like week 1. We had a guy get washed back who was getting ready to graduate. Yeah, and exactly. he had a cell phone. He had a cell phone that he would take the battery out of at night and during the day, and he just kept it on his person 24/7. A lot of times they wouldn't search your person; they would search your belongings, like your laundry bag, your locker, anything like that.
While you're not like
while you're not there.
I got you.
Even with you standing right there, they'd be like, "Open that shit up."
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and then you but he hit a cell phone for like almost the entire time he was there.
That's crazy.
And last week he was there, they found it, and he got washed all the way back. So like when we were in processing, he joined our flight.
No.
And like,
okay.
So we were like getting there week 1, and he went all the way back.
So he was the new guy. He had been there, but he was the new guy when you came in.
Yep.
Oh no.
And so he got washed all the way back. So he came in with us, and like he's telling us like it's not that bad. Like this is what they do. Honestly, it was kind of nice having like a
that's true
person in the flight who knew what the next steps in the process were.
You got a guide.
Yeah. So we kind of had like a guide, and he would like walk us through everything. But yeah, honestly, 9 weeks, it was a breeze. 90% of it was classroom training.
Really?
So you like people think basic training, like you think just working out.
That's
24/7.
Literally all I thought. I thought it was just like I thought I was gonna die. I didn't think I would ever stand a chance in the military because
you would absolutely.
I've never been.
You would absolutely survive in the military. At least the Air Force. Yeah. So I joined the Air Force just because my ASVAB scores were kind of high. So my recruiter was like, "Hey,
smart fella,
go to the Air Force." And I think they get more kickback too, depending on which branch they send people to. So.
You said your what scores were kind of high?
My ASVAB. So it's like a test that you take. It's almost like an IQ test for the military.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it has like math questions and stuff like that.
It's like an aptitude test.
Yeah, pretty much like an aptitude test.
Like and tells you what your job will be.
Depending on your score on that test, qualifies you for different jobs in the military. So
kind of like that. Actually.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But there was ways like I'm definitely not the smartest person, but I absolutely killed the ASVAB.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Nice.
I'm not good at math. I suck at math, and I excelled on math on this test.
Math sucks.
And so I've always like worked with my hands. So the recruiter's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" So he printed out a sheet. He's like, "This is every job you qualify for."
Yeah. Based
off your test scores.
Everywhere should do that.
It should
just do this in high school.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, of course, the top 3 he had highlighted. He's like, these are my recommendations on what you should do based on your score.
Okay.
Again, based on like the position, he would get a kickback for like sending people to jobs that nobody else fucking wanted.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. And so I ended up choosing aircraft maintenance.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, that kind of sounds cool. Like I'll work on an airplane. Like I love anything mechanical.
Aircraft maintenance. So did you have any idea, like when you picked that one, do you have any idea what it
Not a fucking thing.
He was just like, pick one of these and you're like.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that kind of sounds cool. Like working on airplanes. Yeah. But in my head, I was thinking like.
Pilot.
Yeah.
I'm going with that one.
Yeah. And I mean, I kind of had a general understanding of like aviation and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, that kind of sounds cool. Yeah. So we get basic training. We get all the way through 9 weeks. And so we graduate. And I actually go so basic training was in San Antonio. I left San Antonio and went to Wichita Falls, Texas. That's where like they call it AIT training. That's where my tech school training was at.
This is like after you got your specialty.
So after everybody graduates basic training, they all separate and go to their separate training schools to learn how to do their specific job in the military.
That's so neat.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
That is really cool.
And then the second you graduate, like it's just honestly respect. Like they treat you like dirt up until the second you graduate.
Basic training. You're talking about.
Okay. And so once you graduate, they do what they call a coin ceremony. So everybody gets like a Air Force coin.
Yeah.
And that signifies that you graduated basic training.
Nice.
And so there's actually a challenge out there where people will be like, "Hey, coin challenge."
Oh yeah.
Like you'll be like, "Hey, I was in the Air Force. All right, coin challenge." Like, pull your coin out and fucking show people, and that's how you. And if you don't have it, you're supposed to buy drinks for everybody.
Oh okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a little cool thing, I guess, that they do. Yeah. But as soon as you get that coin handed to you, like the MTIs and everything, they just treat you with respect. And it's kind of cool going from like being a grunt, like getting yelled at for 9 weeks, to like them shaking your hand and like having an actual conversation with you. Like, yeah, our instructors were like having an actual conversation with us about his wife and kids. Like after we graduated,
was it
after
hard?
he just yelled at us for doing push-ups?
That's
wrong.
What I was about to say. Was it hard to like talk to him like you didn't hate him?
It's like, dude, the expression on his face like changed. Like he had a specific face for an instructor, and you would tell
he saw you differently.
Yeah, he saw us differently once we graduated because he's like, all right, you just went through 9 weeks of that.
Nice.
Like you're kind of respected.
Yeah,
so
it's
kind of crazy because like people have this mindset of like the military is just yell, 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 yell. Really, it's only like that in basic training. Yeah, at least that's my experience. Once I got into AIT, it was a breeze.
Yeah.
Of course, you still have like working out requirements and stuff like that. So.
And there's, did you so did you see combat at all or no?
No. So I did go to Turkey.
You did? Okay, nice,
yeah,
cool.
But very, very briefly.
Okay. I was gonna ask because I feel like I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. Like combat.
Yeah, no, never any combat.
Okay,
I never carried a gun. Besides, we did live fire training in basic training. That's the only time I had a gun. Okay. But a lot of times the aircraft people wouldn't. Yeah. Even if they were deployed. They got issued a gun, but they would never carry it. They're more like on base. Yep. Making sure things operate. Yep. They are not patrolling anything like that. They're not shooting people. Okay. Nothing like that.
I didn't think that's what you were up to. No. I didn't think you were up to that over there.
Definitely not. So. So yeah, we left San Antonio after we graduated. I went to Wichita Falls, which is like right on the border of Oklahoma and Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it was 30 minutes from the Oklahoma.
Wichita, Kansas is a place.
No, different. Wichita Falls is in Texas.
Okay, separate. Okay.
Yeah, so still in Texas. So my training for aircraft maintenance was like I want to say 5 months long.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was longer than my basic training.
So we're talking about. With basic training, it's like 7 months you're in
for my specific job. Yeah, there were some jobs like a linguist.
Okay.
You have to learn a language and like be able to translate. Yeah, that's a 2-year tech school.
Wow. Did they take people? Oh, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that there was like a. I thought they took people that like already spoke Arabic or whatever.
Nope. So if you qualify as a linguist is one of the top jobs that you can get. Like you have to absolutely exceed the ASVAB to be able to qualify for a linguist.
Okay.
And you can go in knowing one language, but I mean, obviously it helps if you know multiple languages. But depending on where the problems are in the world, that's the language you learn.
Yeah. That's wild. So they can like tailor make you.
Yes.
Like we got problems coming up in India or whatever.
Yep.
So
and
you're going to learn
Indian
language.
Yeah,
whatever language. I don't know. Whatever language they speak over there. No, it's not Pakistan.
Yeah.
It's a different one.
Yeah.
They don't like each other.
But yeah, so pretty much like Middle East, they would learn those languages. But yeah, I was in basic training with a guy who went as a linguist, and his tech school afterwards was like 25 months long. Yeah, and he graduated. I cannot remember the language that he learned how to speak. And I mean, it's 6 days a week. Going into a classroom setting,
intense,
getting force fed this language, and
learning languages is not.
Oh yeah, and that's all they do for 2 years straight.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
I mean you got to be fluent in it. Like no. Back and forth.
Yeah.
You got to be able to speak it as well as your primary language.
Exactly. Sure. And so, like I said, depending on the job that you pick, depends on how long your tech school is. So mine was just so happened to be 5 months. But I mean, it was pretty cool because it was like hands-on classroom training. So you would have like classroom time, and then you have hands-on time. And then we had what they call a TO, a technical order. It was like the Chilton manual for airplanes. Nice. Like I don't know if you know what Chilton manual is.
Isn't that the truck manual?
It's pretty much like a car and truck, like repair manual. Yeah. So you just have a laptop, and I mean, it would give you step-by-step instructions on what to do to fix these airplanes.
That's so cool.
And 90% of what we did was just preventative maintenance, like oil changes, stuff like that.
Do you ever have any that's a dumb question. Like aircraft when they wreck, they're pretty done for, right?
I never had an aircraft.
No aircraft wreck. Okay.
No. We had a couple that got shot at while they were deployed.
Really?
And yeah, we would have to do patch panels on the airplanes. Yeah,
that's cool.
So you just cut a piece of metal and rivet it over the bullet hole.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you ever see like an airplane that has a bunch of little squares with like rivets, those are probably bullet holes.
Certainly seen that.
Yeah.
I wonder if like on commercial aircraft, I've seen little patches on like commercial aircraft.
I've heard stories of commercial aircraft getting shot at, like when they fly over
I was gonna say
specific places and stuff like that. I've never heard of one actually getting hit though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, AIT technical or tech school was very cool. It was like freedom. It was like you're on a college campus.
Right.
So you would wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, go do your PT, a little bit of running, a little bit of push-ups, and then you were freed for the rest of the morning pretty much.
Nice. Was that like led by someone or?
So we had like teachers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so we all stayed in like a big dorm, and then there was like a guy who was head of the dorm who would like patrol us and make sure we weren't doing anything. Like on Friday nights and Saturday nights, they would like we had a curfew, so you had to be in by a certain time.
What do they call those on college campuses?
TAs?
No,
RAs.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
So yeah, they would kind of patrol the dorm, make sure everybody was doing what they were supposed to. I know specifically on like Friday and Saturday nights, like people would come back and they would be breathalyzing people like at the door. I definitely did some underage drinking while I was there. Luckily, never got caught.
Never.
We had a couple guys that would sneak in alcohol into the dorms, and once you were in your dorms, you were good.
Okay.
Like they would almost never come into your room unannounced.
Okay.
But we did have a guy pass away while we were there.
Oh no.
He I guess he was just he had never had freedom before.
What?
Like he was super sheltered, and then as soon as he got to tech school, he just went crazy and drank like 20 Red Bulls.
Holy fuck!
And had a heart attack in his room. Like the day we got there, this happened. We get there, we get in our rooms and everything, and like we're walking down the hallway, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, a guy died in that room last night."
What?
And we're like, "What?
What the heck?"
Like, we thought he was just messing with us, and like after we got there, like we've heard the story and everything like that, but
no, seriously, damn.
Yeah, a lot of people go wild once they get to tech school.
Yeah, I mean, first time ever being out on your own.
Yep,
you can have 20.
A lot of 18-year-olds go buck.
I'm getting 20.
And I mean, you're on a military base, so there's not so much trouble you can get into. And for the first, like, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks you're there, you're not allowed to leave the base. You have to stay on the military base for 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. Once the 2 or 3 weeks pass, you go to a different state. I cannot for the life of me remember what the state is called, but after like 3 weeks, you can leave the base, but you have to be in full uniform. We call them dress blues. Sure. So you had to be in your dress blues, and then people outside of the military base knew you were military. Right. And if you fucking did anything,
you're done for.
Yeah. So we had to carry these pieces of paper with us, and they would be like, "Give me that."
Okay. And like that's why they're doing that.
Yep.
I see.
And so like I don't know if you've ever been around like Colonial Heights, but a lot of the people from like Fort Lee, it's called something else, Fort Greg Adams now. Something. Yeah. Fort Greg Adams, you can always spot military people like out and about. And if they're ever fucking around, you can pretty much get them in trouble if you want to.
True. Down in Norfolk, what's the base down there?
Norfolk Naval.
Norfolk Naval. Yeah, I should have been able to figure that out. I should have been able to figure that out. But I see military dudes all the time down there when I'm making my runs on.
But yeah, it was pretty great. So you just kind of so you left in your dress blues, and then like maybe 2 weeks after that, you got like full freedom. Nice. And so you could go off the base in just regular civilian clothes. Cool. Go do whatever you wanted to. You had a little bit later of a curfew. I want to say maybe like 11 o'clock midnight, somewhere in there. Right. And then I had actually bought a car while I was down there.
Oh, all right, cool.
Because I have to have a vehicle. Of
course, yeah.
So I bought a Mitsubishi Lancer while I was down there, and then I became like the go-to person because nobody down there had cars. Nobody had cars.
Mitsubishi Lancer.
Yeah.
Whoa, I glanced right over that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then I kind of did like a ghetto Evo body kit on it.
Of course, yeah. It was, you remember Need for Speed Underground?
I do.
Or maybe it was Midnight Club.
Double edition?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of the starter car, like the first car you could pick.
Yep, was a Mitsubishi Lancer.
It was a Mitsubishi Lancer and an Eclipse.
Yep.
I think I always wanted
I had both of those cars, believe it or not.
Nice.
Yeah, my first car in high school was an Eclipse. Nice. It was a 2000 Eclipse GT.
That was exactly what I had in Midnight Club.
Yep. It was pretty fast actually for what it was. But yeah, so anyways, I was like one of the only people that had a car down there. So I made friends with everybody. And I got to go do a lot of stuff because people would be like, "Hey, if you drive me, I'll pay for you." Hey, if you so we did a lot of hiking because there was like a mountain range right where we were.
That's the best thing ever.
And so like all the guys would be like, "Hey, if you drive us there, like we'll buy your lunch or we'll pay for gas." All I had to do was drive.
Yeah. So you got to go hiking.
I got to go hiking. We did a lot of like shopping. Like they would. For some reason, military people love to shop. I don't know why. I'm not big on that, but
whatever.
I guess there's nothing else to do.
True.
And a lot of these people, they have like saying like a lot of these people are seeing a comma in their bank account for the very first time. Because I mean, an 18-year-old has likely never had a good sum of money.
I remember one time in high school, my mom's paycheck accidentally got deposited into my bank account. I was in high school. I was like 16. My mom's
thought you were living high.
For a second, I was like, yo.
All right. So how did your mom call you and be like, yo, don't fucking spend that money?
I don't know. I think I good boyed out.
See, you were a good kid.
Yeah. I probably fessed up.
I went to an ATM and been like, nothing ever got deposited in my account.
Yeah. Nah, I was a good boy. I think I told her, I was like, yo. I'm rich. What happened?
Hey, Mom. I know how much you make now.
Yeah.
But so anyways, like tech school was cool and everything. So we graduated. And then I got stationed in North Carolina. Fayetteville was where I got stationed at. It was Fort Bragg.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know Fayetteville. Well, I don't know Fayetteville.
So Fort Bragg is the Army base. There was at the time, there was a Air Force base connected to it called Pope. and it was Pope Army Airfield, and that's where I was stationed, and I was working on C-130s.
Nice.
Was the only prop plane left in the Air Force.
C-130s. Are those the big cargo planes?
They are a cargo plane, yes. But there's a gunner ship called an AC-130.
That's what I was also thinking about.
That's like the cool one.
Yeah. Isn't that the Warthog or whatever?
No. So that's the A-10.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay. Oh yeah, the A-10.
Yeah, those are very, very cool.
They are. I only know all this from Call of Duty.
Pretty much. And I tell people I worked on them, and people are like, "Oh, I saw that in Call of Duty." I'm like,
yeah, it's literally all I know it from. I wouldn't have any idea
otherwise. Yeah. Yep. So I drove back from Texas to North Carolina because I had the car.
Right. Okay.
So instead of flying, a lot of people flew. I drove. So I kind of made like a little mini road trip out of it, and cool. I think I took like maybe 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Did you get time in between?
Yeah. So I graduated tech school on like a Tuesday, and I didn't have to report to my new base until like maybe 2 weeks later. I want to say. Okay, so I got like maybe 2 weeks leave.
Cool.
And so I kind of made like a mini road trip out of it. Drove through Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, all the way up back up to Virginia.
And you're originally from Virginia. Right?
Yep. Yeah. Born and raised. Nice. Prince George.
Right on.
Yeah, kind of.
Somewhere around.
But so I report to my base like 2 weeks later. I'm there for like a month. And they're like, "Hey man, base is shutting down."
Yeah. What?
I'm like, "What the fuck?"
The new place you just got?
Yes.
All right.
I'm like, "Why would you like spend all this money training me to like not even?" Yeah. So apparently Congress had like taken a vote, and they were like, "Hey, we don't need you anymore."
Sounds like Congress.
And so they just literally shut down the base.
Like them.
And so all the other bases like in the surrounding area were like, I guess, bidding on who they wanted and people like that. And so and luckily I came in with like 3 other people who were also...
You got drafted again.
Pretty much. And so I came in with like 3 people who were in the same job as me, like brand new E3s and not really knowing what's going on. And so they were like, "Hey, don't show up here anymore. Now you're going to..." It was Goldsboro, North Carolina. Seymour Johnson Air Force Base.
That's very funny. But no, they didn't change that.
That's the name. That's legit the name.
Now? They changed it from... No. It's always been Seymour Johnson.
It's always been Seymour Johnson. So
right on.
Pope is no longer a thing. That shut down.
Oh, okay,
Seymour Johnson was another base that I got moved to. They were like, "Hey, your new unit at this base is the 440th Airlift Wing. Just show up there." It's Seymour Johnson.
Seymour Johnson.
So I show up there like 2 weeks later, and then they don't even have any C-130s at this base.
Okay.
So they're like, "You have to learn this whole new aircraft."
All right.
Which is a turbine aircraft, which is a KC-135 is what it was another cargo plane pretty much. But instead of having a prop, it was a turbine engine.
Like a jet engine type?
Pretty much, yeah. So I had to pretty much I had to forget everything I learned.
That sucks.
For the past 5 months and learn a new aircraft.
Yeah. Wait, so also, let me just... Yeah. You probably already said this, but that 5 months, you just learning that C-130?
Yeah, I was specifically just learning how to fix that C-130.
That sucks.
And everything I did was on that C-130. I mean, we removed an engine, we removed a prop, we did all the service, and now all that's out the window because this new platform plane doesn't have a propeller on it. So
that's wild. And so this is about 8 months into your...
I would say probably 8 or 9 months into my career at this point. And then, like I said, as soon as we got there, they were like, "Forget everything you know."
That is crazy. But also it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and so they were like, "Here, lock yourself in this room and read this." Great. And so for the next, I would say, and at this point, I was actually active duty. So when I joined in the reserves, let me just say that. Then, so I was only ever supposed to work 2 weeks out of the year. Like it was supposed to be 1 week in a month and then 2 weeks out of the year. Right. But they had the option to activate me if they needed to. Okay. And so when I moved to the new base, they were like, "Hey, you're switching to active duty." Gotcha. So switched to active duty just so I could get all my training done. Yeah.
When you heard that at first, were you like, "Fuck, I'm going to Iraq"?
No, I kind of wanted to because I had no job to fall back on.
Oh, nice. So you were
back at home. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
The only thing was I had just met my now wife at the time, girlfriend then, Rhiannon. And so as soon as we... Oh, yeah.
Her birthday was like
29.
Whoa, man.
We are getting old.
Yeah.
She's off 29 very well. I'm aging a lot more than she is.
Bro, look at me.
I have a lot more gray hairs.
Yeah, I get it.
But no. But yeah, pretty much as soon as we had started dating, they were like, "Hey, you're going active duty." And so...
I'm sure she liked that.
But she was in college at the time, so
true. Okay.
She was at Longwood, and I mean, I would go there on the weekends and stuff like that. And she would come down and visit. But we made it work. We did the long distance thing.
It bothers me immensely how I went to Longwood also, and we didn't hang out.
I fucking know.
It bothers me so much.
And I was there honestly so much.
Same.
Like so much.
Yeah.
So active duty at the new base, they literally like locked me in a room with these 3 other fucking idiots. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm friends with them on Facebook, and
Get
if
'em.
somehow this gets back to them, you're idiots.
Name them. I'm just kidding, don't name.
But yeah, they were, dude, I don't ever see how they got into the military, if I'm being 100% honest. So they lock us in this room. They're like, they gave us a book, about 3 books that were about 4 inches thick each.
Good Lord, yeah.
And I mean, we just had to memorize them from fucking front to back.
How long did you have? 5 weeks?
So we had about another 3 months to learn and get tested. We had to test and qualify. Yeah. Right. And so the test was maybe 200 questions.
Whoa.
And you could only maybe miss like 8 of them.
What?
Yeah.
That's like a, what, 4%?
And so
you have to get 96% on that to pass. That's nuts.
It was crazy. So I took the test first.
Also, that was fast math.
It was. That was good.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I took the test first, passed, and I thought I was going to pass the test and then get to start working on airplanes. No, the other 3 idiots failed. And they were like, hey, go fucking...
Are you kidding?
Go study with them and make them pass the test. I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding me?
So
I didn't physically, like, touch an airplane, work on an airplane, I would say, until I was about a year in.
Wow. That's wild.
And by this point, I had already gotten promoted, so I think I was a senior airman at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I came in as an E1 airman first class, and then get moved up. So at this point, I was like a senior airman.
Okay.
And finally getting to like start to work on airplanes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
After a year being there.
Yep. And
that's nuts.
The other 3 ended up, I don't know what happened, but I guess they just stopped showing up one day.
Okay. Can you do that in the military?
I'm not really certain how that works,
right.
if I'm being 100% honest, but one day they just didn't show up anymore. I asked about them, and
they were
like, don't worry about it. So
damn,
they never did end up passing their test. And I mean, I worked with them. They just didn't have the knowledge about it, man. So.
You said you're friends with them on Facebook now?
I think I'm friends with like maybe 2 of them on Facebook.
Just making sure they didn't just like take them around back and shoot them in the back of the head. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think one of them is like works at a lawn care company now.
Okay.
And
that's pretty good.
I honestly don't even know what the other one does, but
right on.
Yeah. But yeah, so it took me that long to even like get on working on a plane. So I was active duty, I want to say, for like maybe 5 months. Mm-hmm. And then I went back to being in the reserves, came home, and then I was just doing my weekends. So I would go 1 weekend a month, and then in the summer, I would go for like 2 weeks straight.
Okay, and that was probably roundabouts where we met.
I think so, yeah. So I want to say, I think I met you through John.
Yeah, at that apartment.
Yeah, at the apartment, and I want to say I was active duty at that time.
I think you were, because I remembered you were in the military when I met.
And then I want to say maybe like a month after that is when I came back home, and I just started doing the reserves every weekend, or not every weekend, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the year. And then when I got back home, I was like, shit, I need to fucking find a job.
Yeah, nice.
I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? So my stepdad, he was a foreman of a concrete company. Okay. He's like, yo, come, you don't have a fucking job? Come work with me.
Started pouring concrete?
Yeah, started pouring concrete, man. And
buddy who does that now?
Fucking hell, dude.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I started in, I want to say, April doing that, and fucking hot, dude.
In April? Yeah, that would suck.
And I did it for a year.
Okay.
Before I left there and went to Fastenal, which you know that.
I'm familiar with Fastenal.
So I poured concrete for a year.
Doing mostly like driveways and stuff like that?
No, we actually did all commercial. It was we did like curb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had like a machine that would follow, or a concrete truck would follow the curb machine and just dump his concrete into the machine, and it would pour the concrete and like shake it into a form.
Strange.
Yeah. And it would make curb, and it would just spit the curb out of the back.
That's so weird.
And the machine would just drive and like spit curb out. And I mean, you had to kind of follow the machine and like smooth out the concrete and stuff like that.
But it's basically like a big long turd.
And I mean, every now and then we would do like some sidewalk or something like that, but 90% of what we did was curb. And I mean, it was fucking hard work, man.
Yeah, it sounds hard.
My wife says I was so tired at that time. Like, I think I had to be to work at like 5 a.m, and I want to say we would work till like 5 or 6 in the evening, man. It was
a long day.
It was a long day. The money was phenomenal, honestly. Sure. I mean, because you got all the overtime you wanted. I want to say we worked like 10-hour days. So, but
nice.
Yeah, it was crazy. But my wife was like, "Yeah, you're tired all the time." Or girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Yeah, you're tired all the fucking time." Yeah. Like every time I would see her, I wanted to see her a lot, but I would like see her after I got done with work, hang out for like an hour, and then I would fall asleep on the couch.
I got to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. Against like, I would try to fight it so
yeah,
hard.
You do your best.
And she would just look over there, and I would be fucking knocked
like, baby,
out,
I promise it's not you.
Yeah. And so I was like, kind of like was thinking one day, I was like, man, this is not what I want to fucking do. Yeah. Like for the rest of my life. I was like, I'm tired all the time. I was like, if I do this much longer, it's really gonna hurt. Like I'm really gonna feel it. Yeah. So I just randomly started fucking applying to jobs on Indeed, and the Fastenal job came up for like outside sales.
Yeah.
And I bullshitted my way through the interview process
Yep.
and got the fucking. I think I actually knew one of the girls that worked at Fastenal. I did, Katie.
Okay.
I had worked with her in high school at a Swader Sports Park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
it's right up the road.
Yeah.
House, isn't it?
Yep. So she was like, "Hey, yeah, I'll put in a good word for you." So she kind of actually got me the job.
Okay.
And that was kind of my introduction into like sales.
Okay. And that was at this place called Fastenal.
Yeah, Fastenal. It was like a construction equipment company. We sold a lot of nuts and bolts.
A lot of hardware, hardware sales, construction sales.
Yep. And then I guess I don't really know, a bad influence because I got all my friends jobs at Fastenal after that.
Like me.
Like you, like
actually,
John.
you were the one friend who told me. You specifically told me.
I did. I remember that phone call so vividly.
Yeah,
I was like, you called me. You were like,
God,
hey,
I wish I
man.
had.
You're like, what do you think about Fastenal? I was like, don't fucking take the job.
That should have been my cue right there.
And you didn't listen to me. You took the job. You hated it.
That place fucking sucked.
Yeah.
My boss was a racist. She was mean to me.
Yep.
She picked on me.
It was crazy. And like right when I first got hired, it wasn't bad. I was making good money. And then they changed the commission structure to you only got commission on growth.
Yep, was hard to do.
It was fucking terrible because if you sold $100,000 worth of equipment to a company,
the next year you're fucked.
Well, not even the next year. If they had bought $200,000 the last year,
true,
you didn't make any commission on that because you showed 0% growth on that.
Yep.
Like you had to be growing. It was the dumbest thing ever. You should have got.
So dumb.
Yeah.
But it's like if you killed it, you worked your ass off, and you killed it.
I did. I worked my fucking ass off.
The only reward you get, same. The only reward you get is next year you have to work harder and work your ass off.
Yep. And then, so while I was at Fastenal, I was going back and forth to Longwood.
Told myself I wasn't going to bad talk companies
on
this podcast, but also that one sucks.
So while I was working at Fastenal, I had went to Longwood one weekend on the motorcycle to visit my girlfriend. And I want to say we hung out for a day, maybe two, and I came home. And on my way home, I had pulled into the gas station like right by my house. And I had texted her and I said home. Like, hey, I made it home.
Okay.
And I was just getting gas and I was going to pull into my driveway and be good to go.
Right.
Well, one of our friends pulled into the gas station on his motorcycle.
Right.
And was like, hey, man, you want to go for a ride? I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yes.
And not even thinking about it, didn't text her, letting her know what I was doing. Yeah. And so we ride, shooting down 360, we go out into Amelia, and I had come around a turn, and there was just like some gravel in the road, and I fucking hit it, and I was flying through there right now.
I'm flying through there.
I'm flying through there right now. And so wrecked my bike, got thrown off of it, went into the woods, like got tangled up in some briars was like the main thing.
That's annoying.
It was crazy. But I think I passed out. Like, I'm not 100% sure. I kind of remember some things, but so I remember the lady, I wrecked in front of a lady's house. She came out and she like covered me with a blanket. I guess I was in shock. She did think I was dead, but funny enough, I got actually reported as dead.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll follow that up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll follow that up in a second. So they covered me up, and I, again, was unaware of the situation. The friend I was riding with at the time claims my bike was just in the ditch running, and two guys pulled up and tried to just throw my bike in the back of their truck and take off.
All right.
And
yeah.
Okay. So apparently my bike tried to get stolen while I was literally laying there almost dead.
Possibly dead, yeah. That's weird.
So I guess where I was very, very far out, and they didn't want to risk like the back roads and an ambulance. So they were like, hey, we need a helicopter.
Yeah. Amelia, for the record, is kind of out there. It's
it's very out.
I think like cow pastures and woods is pretty much the only thing.
So they landed the helicopter, loaded me up. They were like, hey, man, we don't have any sheets to cover you up with. They were like, and we got to cut your clothes off. I was like, man, what the fuck?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And so I'm like, hey, man, these are like $600 riding pants. I was like, I just take them off. They were like, nope, scissors right down the middle.
I can get them.
I was like, oh. So I'm in this helicopter flying to VCU Medical Center.
Dick out.
Butt naked.
Oh, no, really?
Oh, yeah.
I was kidding.
Butt naked with a chick nurse flying right beside me.
Hot.
The pilot was right in front of me,
Cool.
and I think there was another nurse. I want to say there was 3 of them and 1 of me.
Outnumbered.
And I mean, I'm just
Outmanned.
right in. Yeah, so like I guess while I was laying in that field covered in the blanket or whatever, somebody had rode by and saw a person covered up with a blanket.
Covered in a sheet.
And my understanding is that it was reported in the Amelia newspaper that I had passed away.
Wow.
in a motorcycle accident.
That's got to be
Yep.
so.
And
scary.
meanwhile, I mean, I'm alive and well.
Yeah,
still kicking it.
Luckily, I mean, I don't think we know anybody anymore in Amelia.
No,
but, you know,
definitely not.
been like,
Wouldn't go there if you paid me to.
Same.
Yeah.
But like also,
Yep.
like you know what I mean? Like no one was alarmed by seeing you dead in the newspaper.
I guess not, but
no, I'm saying it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. So helicopter lands at VCU, and as soon as it lands on the roof, I mean, I'm surrounded by like 30 doctors, like 30 nurses, like all these people asking me all these questions.
Nuts.
I'm like, holy shit, man, this is fucking crazy.
Just like in the hospital shows, the helicopter
lands. Ended up being in the hospital for about 7 days. Girlfriend at the time, still back in Longwood.
Yeah.
Doesn't know anything of what's going on.
Yeah.
So like right before I got in the helicopter, I told the guy I was with, I was like, hey, call my mom and call Ree. Like those are the two people.
Yeah.
Don't freak them out. Yeah. Like tell them I was talking to you. What the fuck does he do? Freak them out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. And I mean, so Rhiannon was at work at the time, like at a coffee shop.
That's right.
And I want to say he called her like 4 or 5 times. She didn't answer. He texted her, hey, you need to call me back. So she like stepped out, called him.
Your phone.
Yeah, probably. He called from, I guess, my phone.
Yeah.
So finally he got in touch with her, and he was like, hey, don't freak out. Like, Eli was in a motorcycle accident. He had to be med flighted.
Okay.
And I believe he did leave out the part that I was, like, conscious and talking.
That's the part you wanted to include.
And so by the time I got to the hospital, I think Ree had already found out, and my mom had already found out.
Mm-hmm.
And so they, I guess, were on the way to, Ree had found somebody to take her, I guess, because she was so, I want to say, like, one of her floor mates, like the guy that lived right across the hall, maybe took her or something like that. And so she met me at the hospital after I was already there and had gotten seen by the doctors and everything. And lucky is beyond what I would say. I mean, just a busted knee and a shoulder, and I was good to go. I think I had a concussion too.
This is just to reiterate for everyone, this is a motorcycle accident.
Yes.
In the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Where you flew off your bike into a briar patch, broke your leg.
Yep. And so I guess they really med flighted me because they thought I couldn't move. Like the EMTs were like talking to me, and I was like I can't move, but I couldn't get the words out that I wanted to say. It's not that I couldn't move; it's that the briars, I was so tangled up in the briars that I literally couldn't move without fucking thorns digging into my arms.
You're getting cut up. Yeah.
And at the moment, I guess I was just so in shock that so they, of course, wrapped me in a neck brace, back brace, like everything. They thought the whole 9 yards was. And I mean, I guess you see it all the time, motorcycle accident, like. Yeah, worst of the worst. So
they went to worst case scenario.
Yeah, and I mean I get it.
True. And
although the bill for the helicopter was
too
fucking crazy.
Are you still?
I paid that. So luckily at the time I had insurance through Fastenal and I had TRICARE through the military.
Hell yeah! Okay,
so I had 2 different.
I forgot about that.
Insurances.
Do you have to go to the VAs at all for?
No, I don't. I do have a. So I'll get into that in a minute, but
you're good.
Yeah. So at the time working at Fastenal, obviously. Didn't show up to work on Monday because I was in a fucking motorcycle accident. Boss is livid.
She's mad at you.
It was Jim.
He's mad at you.
Yeah, a guy named fucking Jim. Hated him, dude, so bad. He was like mad, and then Katie was like, "Yo, he was in a fucking motorcycle accident."
Chill out.
So she explained the situation. I ended up going on like short-term disability because I mean I couldn't walk. I had to have surgery on my knee.
Yeah.
And then that kind of just put a bad taste in my mouth. Fastenal was not very good to me during that time. They had tried to find a couple reasons to like let me go.
Yeah.
And then I said fuck that and kept working there,
which was fair. I remember those reasons. Some bullshit.
Yeah. And so my healing process was maybe like 6 months, 6-7 months. So I think I went back to work at like the 6-month mark, and my first day back was just, I mean, it was not a good work environment. Me and the boss didn't get along. Yeah, it was just crazy. So immediately, pretty much as soon as I got back, I started putting in applications. Right. And again, I kind of had the sales mindset, and I was like, I just need to do something in sales. Like I'm good at that. And
this is what you were doing.
Yeah.
At Fastenal.
Yep. So I was outside sales, like meeting with clients, setting up new clients, all kinds of stuff. Really, honestly, I really enjoyed the job. It was just the boss that I really did not like.
Every job that I've had has been since Walgreens. Every job I've had has been in sales, and if I've had a bad boss, that has either made or broke the job. Like it's been the best job ever, or terrible if I had a bad boss.
And I got blessed. Like honestly, I don't know where it came from because nobody in my family is this way. But I had the gift of gab. Yeah, I can talk to anybody about anything.
That is good.
Yeah, and I honestly, it really helped with my sales. Like with Fastenal, I mean, I did pretty well. And then again, they restructured the commission. So
you're pretty good at talking.
Yeah, I just
you're good at that.
And so I just started looking at jobs, got on Indeed, and like the first thing that popped up on Indeed was like car insurance. Like being a car insurance agent. And I was like, dude, I could sell car insurance.
Okay, yeah.
And so I fucking shot my application, and like within 30 minutes, I had gotten an email back.
Damn.
And they were like, hey, we want you to come in for an interview. I was like, okay. For this was at the time Farm Bureau Insurance.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. So went in for the interview, and they're like, hey man, we like you, but you need to get your insurance license. And so they were like, take a week or two, go study for the test. It's pretty much like a real estate license. Like you really have to study and pass. So it was 2 tests. It was property and casualty insurance, which is like the car insurance side of things. And then it was a life and health insurance test for life insurance and health insurance, which you just needed both of them. And when I was interviewing for them, they really pushed that I was really only going to be doing car insurance. Like they were like, hey, we also sell life insurance,
but you're focused.
But you're going to kind of focus on car insurance. I was like, okay, that's what I want. I don't want to sell life insurance.
I know cars. I like cars. That's
yeah. And I mean, they were like, you're going to have to sell some life insurance. And I was like, okay. I was like, I just don't want it to be my main focus.
Yeah.
And they kind of like were okay with that at the time. And so I studied my ass off for like 3-4 weeks, passed the insurance test, got hired through them, and started selling car insurance through Farm Bureau Insurance. And honestly, crushed it.
Nice.
I mean, I sold so much car insurance. It was great.
That rules.
Yeah. And I mean, I was doing very well. I loved my job. And then about 6 months into it, they were like, hey, man, you need to start pushing life insurance.
God dang it.
Like every person you sell car insurance to, just bring it up in conversation. Like, hey, I also sell life insurance.
Sure.
And I did. And I would immediately get shut down. Yeah. Like, nobody wants life insurance. Nobody wants to think about death. Nobody. And so I toughed it out. So that was probably at my 6-month mark. They were like, hey, you need to start selling life insurance. So I did. And I mean, I sold some life insurance, don't get me wrong, but not nearly the amount that they wanted to.
You were focused still on the car stuff.
I was still focused on the car insurance because that's what I thought I could do and get away with.
Sure.
I'm like, so they were like, nope, need to start selling life insurance. So, I mean, I rang every one of my friends' phones. I called everybody.
I didn't want life insurance.
Nobody wanted life insurance. And at the time, I was 22 years old, 20, maybe 23. I mean, I was probably 23 at the time.
That's probably about right, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I would just meet with people, and nobody would want life insurance. You cannot tell a 23-year-old kid that they're going to die and they need life insurance.
It's impossible.
So I really struggled. I was not a nice person to be around. I was so stressed out.
With that job?
Yes. Oh, yeah. My girlfriend at the time, wife now, said I was an absolutely hateful person.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's not me. I mean, I'm a genuinely nice guy.
I think so.
Happy to be around.
I like hanging
out.
And
that job just fucking drugged me down.
That will do it, too. Yeah. Jobs will.
Yep. And so I think, honestly, Rhiannon was like, hey, man, you got to fucking do something.
Yeah,
like
do something else.
And at the time, like, so we were going through everything, and I had a boss at Farm Bureau. And honestly, this is going on record. I don't even care.
All right.
All the people listening to this. He was doing some sketchy stuff.
Okay.
So like on life insurance policies and stuff, man, he was signing people's names, like doing some kind of under the table stuff.
Can't be doing that.
And I, being the upstanding citizen that I was,
good guy,
brought it up to my superiors, and they're like, all right, what do you want to do? Like, they looked at me and was like, what do you want? I'm like, I guess I quit.
Yeah. I guess I quit. Like, if you're not going to do nothing to him, and I just brought up all this illegal information that he's doing, I guess I quit. Yeah.
That was my thing. I was like, I guess I called Ree after I left that meeting, and I was like, think I just quit Farm Bureau?
And she said, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
was she actually hyped, or was she like,
I think she was actually hyped. Yeah. Lo and behold, I did not actually quit.
Oh, okay.
I did quit that position, but another position had opened up on like the claim side of things, and I took that.
Okay.
And that was kind of my intro into like auto adjusting and auto claims.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this is still at Farm.
This is still at Farm Bureau.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
And I fell in love with it. Cool. It's the best job in the world. Unfortunately, I was not able to stay at Farm Bureau just because wasn't really room to like move up there. Sure. So I kind of left.
Smaller, like kind of local company, right?
Yeah, local. They're only in the state of Virginia, but they're kind of governed by like a bigger Southern Farm Bureau company.
Oh, okay.
And that's the life insurance company.
I got you. Okay.
And that's what they kind of started pushing that shit towards the end. And I was like,
so.
Again, I think I was like just hanging out one day, and I got on Indeed, old Indeed.
Good old Indeed.
And like first job that popped up was Elephant Insurance out of Richmond.
True.
And at the time they were like a newish company.
Yeah.
They're still new. They're only 10 years old, 11 years old, I think. And they had posted a job for an insurance adjuster, and I applied for it. And immediately they reached out to me. They were like, "Hey, I think you're overqualified for this insurance adjuster position."
Because what were you doing at Farm Bureau? What was the actual title? It was like,
I think insurance adjuster.
Yeah.
Okay. They were like, "Hey, you're kind of overqualified," but Elephant calls insurance adjusters different things. Like their entry level job is an insurance adjuster, whereas Farm Bureau and insurance adjuster was kind of like the mid level job there. And so they were like, "Hey, you're overqualified for this, but we have this other position available where you would be reviewing and auditing estimates from repair facilities." I was like, that kind of sounds cool.
It does sound kind of cool, actually. And like you being a car guy,
yeah,
like,
I'm a huge car. I love anything mechanical.
You're good at working with your hands. Yes. Oh yeah, the mechanical aspect of Airforce.
I just love like knowing how things work and like being able to take something apart and put it back together. Definitely. But I could never like go to college for that. Sure. I was not a college person. I barely made it through high school.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
C's get degrees, baby.
I graduated high school by the absolute skin of my teeth, and the principals were excited to get me out of the building.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was not a good kid in high school.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that.
So it was just crazy, man. And so I did the interview at Elephant, fell in love with the job, man. Got hired in like I want to say 2018 was when I started there. And I have been there ever since. It has been, and I've held 2 positions while I was there
since 2018.
Yep,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I've been there 6 years now.
That's a good run,
almost 7. It'll be 7 years in March.
Yeah, it'll be 7 years.
Yep.
And that's next month.
Yep. And honestly, it has been the greatest job ever. Like,
nice,
love it.
I
get to see the craziest stuff ever. Yeah. I get to deal with the craziest people ever, which honestly, from behind a computer screen, it's funny.
Not that bad.
But
you don't ever have to talk to them on the phone or nothing, right?
Very rarely do I have to talk to them on the phone. I will.
Sure.
A lot of times we catch people in fraud trying to claim that damage is related to the current loss when it's actually old.
Or this hammer I just threw at my car.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know it, but insurance companies have this very, very cool system where every time you go through a stoplight or anything like that, your vehicle is scanned and taken a picture of.
Huh. I didn't know. That's cool.
And we have a database where we can go type in your license plate.
Yeah.
And see all of these photos of your car. And then there's specific vehicles that drive around. You probably have seen them with cameras.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they're Google Earth
I thought it was fucking Google.
If it doesn't say Google on it, it's not a Google car.
Oh, man, I was waving at it like an idiot.
It's one of these private companies that scan the vehicles and then sell the photos back to the insurance companies. Yeah.
That's a good racket.
Honestly, it has saved us a lot of money.
I'm sure. Insurance. I mean, you're catching people committing fraud.
Exactly. Yep. And so we can go type your license plate into this database, and every time your vehicle has ever been scanned by one of these companies or cameras,
that is insane.
It will pop up.
Is that everywhere?
It's everywhere in the United States.
Wow.
Yes. We have.
Where people know about.
I've actually had some photos report back in Canada and Mexico too.
No shit.
Yeah. Because we have. Our main state is Texas.
Okay.
And a lot of people, I guess, cross the border for work and stuff like that. So we have had Mexican vehicles get totaled in the U.S. by like one of our insurance or our insureds, and we've had to handle that.
You know how I said Allred's life kind of revolved around bowling one way or another? Your life kind of revolves around Texas in one way or another, you know?
Yeah.
Not currently, but like...
I do keep going back there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love Texas.
True.
And I have told my wife multiple times if we ever...
Texas is pretty safe.
Move.
Yeah.
I wanted to either be Tennessee or Texas. Those are my two. Mainly Texas because no income tax.
That is nice.
That would be phenomenal. Virginia does terrible things to people and charges them.
I'm hoping
astronomical.
You heard Daddy Trump is gonna get rid of the income tax.
I did hear that.
I really hope that'll happen.
Well, also Glenn Youngkin, the governor, is talking about getting rid of property taxes in Virginia and stuff like that. So
I like that too.
Hopefully we'll see something, but honestly,
I need a break. I'll tell you that.
Yep. Taxes are crazy, and I feel like our taxes don't do anything.
Nothing, dude.
Like I was just driving, and the roads are fucking terrible over here, man.
Over here specifically.
Yes.
Yesterday I was driving my car, a little sports car, and it's low to the ground, and I hit a fucking pothole from all the snow and rain shit we've been getting. Hit a pothole. That shit, like I felt it in my teeth. Yeah. That shattered my spine. Like I felt
crazy, man. So I don't know where our tax dollars go. I think they line the pockets of like corrupt politicians.
No, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's my opinion, but I won't get into politics.
Yeah, we won't. All right. Well, we were talking about the elephant.
Elephant. And so when I first got hired, my position was called a desk review auditor.
Okay.
And so we had a third-party company that would go and inspect vehicles in locations where we didn't have appraisers at.
Okay. Contracted out to a different company.
Contracted out to a different company. So like out in the Shenandoah Valley, like we didn't have anybody out there, so we would hire this company. They would go out there, inspect all the vehicles, and then they would send us a repair estimate for it and then photos of it.
Nice. Okay.
And so my job was to look at the photos, review the estimate, make changes. Like if they had something on there that was wrong, I would make changes. And my ideal goal was to save the insurance company money.
Okay.
So to cut stuff off the estimate.
Yeah.
And save money. And I did it, and I did it very, very well. Yeah. I ended up, in my opinion, I was one of the best on the team. It showed. I got some responsibilities that some other people didn't have.
This is what you're doing when you were first.
Yeah, when I first got hired. So I probably did this for the first 3 years, 4 years I was there maybe.
Yeah.
And then a job opened up as a appraiser. And so what that means is I would actually be looking at the photos of the damage, writing my own repair estimate for it, sending that to the shop who's going to do the repairs, and then managing that with the shop.
Okay.
So kind of negotiating.
A lot of back and forth.
A lot of back and forth. A lot of back and forth with shops.
Do they have their own? Do shops have their own like appraisers that do stuff?
So a lot of times at shops, it's called a collision estimator.
Okay.
Yeah. So they don't call it an appraiser; they call it an estimator. But yeah, same job,
kind of same thing.
Yeah.
Just
So
sides.
people come in, they write the estimate, and then a lot of times they send it to the insurance company. And again, I would cut it because they rob people and add all this stuff that doesn't need to be done.
Good guy Eli over here. Yeah, that runs.
Yeah, good guy Eli.
I'm changing your name on my phone to that. Good guy Eli.
But yeah, so got the job, got promoted to the appraiser position, and have been there ever since, man. And it has been amazing. I have seen some of the coolest stuff.
So you've been doing appraising now for
about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's great. I love it.
So with Elephant, so you've that place rules. You found like your dream job.
Yep.
Good company. Maybe not your dream job, but it's a job you
I
enjoy.
would say if it paid a little bit more, it would be my dream job.
There you go. Yeah.
But I mean, I make good money, and I love what I do. My boss is absolutely fantastic. She is the best human on earth. She actually cares for her employees.
This is very important.
You do not find this. Like you do not find bosses like her.
I've had one at McKesson. Yeah. I still talk to her. Jamie, shout out Jamie. I still talk to her. That's the only boss I feel like.
And honestly, I've had multiple offers to leave and go other places. Yeah. And she is the reason that I have stayed.
Nice.
Just because she's the best, man. She's so understanding.
She takes care of you.
Yeah, especially now being a new dad. Shout out
Millie. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a couple months.
Yeah.
How long
she will be 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
On March 1st.
I literally just said 2 months.
Yeah, no.
6 months?
She'll be 6 months old March 1st.
Oh, man. I'm getting...
Time fucking flies. You have a kid, man. It literally seems like just yesterday my wife and I were in the hospital and she was giving birth to her.
I remember Ree being pregnant last week.
Yep.
That's wild.
It goes by so quick, man. Aura was on here last week and said that Atlas is 9 months old. I'm like,
insane.
Holy
you just
crap,
had him,
man.
I think Atlas is April.
Yeah. I think April will be a year old.
So, but yeah.
Yep.
It's nuts.
Crazy, man.
But so you got a cool boss.
Yep.
The
very,
job
very
rules.
cool boss.
The company also is great.
The company is very cool, man. They
take care of you, and
they do. They take very, very good care of us, man. So it actually started as a UK based insurance company called Admiral. They're the biggest insurance company in the UK. Yeah. And they were like, hey, like we're making all this money in the UK. Let's branch out and do the US market.
That was me throwing you a layup.
Yeah.
That was me throwing you a layup. You nailed it.
And so they were like, hey, let's branch out into the U.S. market. So they started Elephant Insurance, I want to say in 2010. So actually, Elephant's probably 15 years old now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I want to say 2010 or 11 was Elephant's first year.
Oh.
Yeah. I should know this, but I actually
I don't know. I have no idea when my company started.
And so they started out in Virginia and Texas. Okay. They're the only 2 states that Elephant Insurance would write a policy in. And then they have branched out. Now we're in 14 states. And it has grown like crazy.
Nuts.
Yep.
Yeah. In just 10 years, 14 states.
Yep. And so they're kind of cutting back a little bit. Admiral was kind of holding our hand for the first.
And Admiral is the UK company.
Admiral is the UK company. So they were kind of holding Elephant's hand for like the first 14 years. And finally they were like, hey, we're going to let go. You need to go do this on your own.
All right. You're all grown now.
Yep. You're all grown. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And that just happened within like the last 2 years.
Okay.
So Elephant's kind of readjusting and learning. They have had to let some people go and do some restructuring.
That'll happen.
But when you look at the numbers of it, it's making sense. They're getting rid of people who are pretty much doing the same job.
Yeah.
So they're combining jobs. And I mean, from a business standpoint, I 100% get it.
Sure.
And I mean,
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Am I worried about my job? No. Like
you got job security.
Yeah. And I mean, if for some reason I lost my job tomorrow, I feel like I could get one next week. Like,
right. Just doing what you do, like the experience you've got now. I mean, you've been there for 7 years now.
Yeah. But with us being work from home, so we used to go into the office every day, and then COVID hit, and they made everybody remote workers.
Bro, I forgot about COVID.
Yeah, COVID was wild, man. So we came in one day. They were like, "Hey, take your laptop and go home, and wait to hear from us."
That's how it was for me.
And then they ended up selling the office building.
Yeah, wow. Ooh, that was just recent, though, right?
I think they were in a lease at the old building, and they like got out of that lease. And then they moved into their new office is probably the size of this house.
Oh, so it's not the same one at that was near McKesson.
No. Yeah, so they got rid of that one.
Okay.
And then moved into like a small building. I'm telling you, it's like the size of this house.
Damn.
And like they have like 10 desks.
Yeah.
There's like no room in there for nothing. But nobody ever goes into the office anymore.
Yeah.
So pretty much 90% of our workforce is remote workers working from home. And because of that, like Elephant is able to spend all this money on their employees. So I mean, they're always taking us out to like happy hours. They're renting out Hardywood Brewery like every 2 months, having happy hours there, paid for by Elephant.
That's tight.
Yes.
Like, they feed you dinner.
Yeah.
And, like,
they just gave us a fat bonus the other day.
I've never gotten a bonus.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were in a meeting. They're like, "Hey, everybody." Our CEO was literally like, "You get a bonus, and you get a bonus."
I've never had that.
Yeah. So I mean, and I feel like they wouldn't do that if they weren't in a position.
Sure. If they weren't like healthy enough to.
If they weren't healthy enough to do it. So I mean, like I said, I feel like I have job security. Yeah. I feel like I'm good to go. But yeah, it has been I've got to see some of the coolest cars.
What do you think what's the coolest car you've ever like had to do an appraisal on, I guess?
Definitely would be the McLaren 720S.
That's tight.
Yeah. It was the coolest fucking car ever. And there was actually a crazy like backstory to it. So we actually caught the guy in fraud. Yeah, so the McLaren owner was actually not an Elephant policy owner.
Okay.
So he was what we call a claimant vehicle owner. So he was with another insurance company.
I got you.
And our Elephant person hit his car.
Okay.
Well, our Elephant person had a BMW 3 Series, like M3, super nice car.
Yeah, nothing to sneeze at.
And they were drag racing.
Ah, okay.
And come to find out, our BMW owner lost control, hit the McLaren owner. Yeah. And originally it was reported. As I want to say the BMW owner ran a red light and hit the McLaren. That's how it was reported.
Okay.
But after some shrewd investigation, we figured out that was wrong. And then I want to say we declined both claims because of false allegations or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, the McLaren was probably the coolest car. But I mean, we see stuff daily that's like pretty cool.
911s. And...
I had an Amish buggy one time. So
what?
In Fredericksburg, Virginia, or maybe north of Fredericksburg, there's a big Amish community in Pennsylvania.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And so our Elephant guy was driving along the fucking road.
What?
Drunk. And fucking rear-ended this Amish buggy with a family in it.
It had no lights on it.
No light. Well, actually, I do think it had lights.
Did it have lights?
It had lights and a radio.
It had one of those little reflector triangles.
No, it had lights and a radio.
What?
Yeah. So I want to say he was actually Mennonite.
Oh, Mennonite. Yeah. They're the ones that can use some.
I'm sorry that I put you in the same place.
That's all right. I think
Mennonites can use electricity,
but they have to wear all black. There's a bunch of Mennonites out near Longwood. I saw those guys at Walmart.
Yep. But yeah, so I got the photos for this Amish buggy, and I had to recreate an estimate and find a value, find out what this thing was worth. So I mean, I had to do all this independent work.
And call Amish communities, and be like,
I actually did. So the one Mennonite that I was in contact with, I would call him.
Was the horse okay?
The horse did pass away.
No,
he did. Yeah, and we actually had to pay for the horse. It actually wasn't bad. It was about $4,000, I think, for the horse.
That's about what I would have.
Now the buggy, on the other hand, was about, I want to say towards the end, it was about $25,000 buggy.
$25,000 more than my car.
Yeah, but if you look at it from this way, like, it's hand built.
Yeah, it's true.
Probably took a long time. Milled every piece of wood.
Also, probably handed down in their family from generation.
No, it was actually built in 2009. I want to say 2010.
Okay.
He had photos of when he built it,
yeah.
And he submitted maybe 1 or 2 invoices for wood and metal that he had bought to build it. And the hard thing was kind of determining what his labor rate was going to be like. Yeah. What was his time worth that he put into it? So I mean, eventually, after a lot of back and forth, we came to a number of about 25 grand.
Plus, like with him about it, or
yep, yeah, I talked with him about it, and then talked with there was another Amish like woodworker guy that I had talked to, and I was like, hey, if somebody came to you and said, build me this buggy, how much would you charge them for it?
Okay, that's a good way to go about it.
And so I maybe called like 8 or 9 people like that, and I got some general numbers. And I kind of took the average out of all those numbers.
You did your work. That's pretty diligent.
Oh, yeah. It took me about 2 weeks to find like a solid value for this thing.
That's pretty good.
And actually, since then, I've actually done 2 more.
Have you really?
Yeah.
2 more Amish buggies since that one? That's nuts.
Yeah. So
I never would have guessed.
Yeah. And I have photos. I'll show you after we're done here.
Does Elephant insure buggies?
They do not. Okay. No. So again, it would have been the person in the car had Elephant insurance, and they hit the buggy.
I got you. The Elephant owner fucked up.
Yeah, which tends to happen a lot. We don't insure the best of the best. So
I've been meaning to ask you about insurance.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I would not. No, I'm kidding. Elephant's gotten better.
Yeah,
they are. They're.
I think I'm with. I don't know who I'm with. Blue. I don't know.
You're definitely not with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
It's not Blue Cross Blue Shield. I can tell you. Hang on. I'm with.
If it's blue, it's probably Allstate.
It's blue. It is Allstate.
Okay.
You're in good hands.
Yeah, that's Allstate.
Yeah, with Allstate. So anyway,
nice. But
I knew it wasn't a fucking.
Seen some crazy things, man, and like I said, it's the job that I wake up. I don't hate it. Yeah. Like I enjoy going to work. Every day is different. The day is never the same twice,
which is great.
It's great. It makes for like. I don't know. It just makes the day go by quicker because you don't know what to expect.
If you get up in the morning and you don't dread getting out of your bed and going to your job or working from home, whatever.
Luckily, I can roll out of bed and walk 10
your laptop,
feet, and
that's pretty nice. I enjoy that as well.
And honestly, I did enjoy working from home.
Yeah.
You know, for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
I would much rather prefer to be out and about now.
Now you would.
Yeah. Working from home is nice, but it gets very, very old.
I like my job. I do like sales and stuff, so I'm able to. Luckily, I can work from home, or if I feel like going to see someone, I can just go hit the road and see a customer or whatever. Which it's helpful. If I get like if I'm sitting here at my house and I'm like writing emails for 3 hours, I can just be like, I gotta get out of the house. I gotta go somewhere.
And see, that's the thing. Like I find myself like
I do that all the time,
trying to find any little thing. Like I'll be like, oh, I need this one screw from the hardware store.
Yeah,
and I'll make a special trip to the hardware store for one screw. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not spending money to commute to a job every day, so I mean, it's a
balance.
Yeah, it's a kind of a balance. But I just like getting out of the house anyways. I'm not.
You got to do it. You got to get up and. I mean, if nothing else, I'll take and walk my dog around the block or something.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So
Elephant sent you to the UK.
Elephant did send me to the UK.
Yeah, that's why.
It was the craziest scenario because it was like 2022 maybe was when I went to the UK. And so I just kind of like they were like, hey, like we're sending 7 people to the UK. Submit your application on why you think you should be the person to get.
Oh, so you had to like apply to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm never gonna win this thing. Like, put in my application. Like, and lo and behold, they were like, dude, you're crushing your job. You're doing so great. Mm-hmm. You've done all this extra work that like nobody asked you to do. They were like, yeah, we're sending you to the UK.
Amish buggy.
Yep. They were like, yeah, we're sending you to the UK. I was like, oh. And I found out like a week before I was leaving.
Yeah. Oh man!
Oh yeah,
that fast.
It was that fast.
Do you know if our mutual friend that also works at Elephant applied for that?
He did not apply.
He didn't apply.
No.
Okay.
I tell him to apply now when it does come up, but I just don't think he has the interest in it.
He's got. He also just had a kid.
Yeah, busy guy.
Yeah, he's focused.
But yeah, it was just crazy. So I found out like a week before I was going, and at the time, my wife and I were building our house. Mm-hmm. So we were living with our in-laws.
Insane that you built a house also. You're 28, 29?
29,
yeah. That's...
Yep, so cool. We were building our house at the time.
Insane in a good way, I meant. Like,
good
for you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I was like, hell yeah. Not like
it's
crazy
a pretty shitty house, but honestly...
No, it rules. Yeah. No, I was saying, like, not crazy that you did that. I meant, like, good for you that you did that.
It's actually not a shitty house. We've kind of made it nice, but we just had so many issues with that thing.
Your garage is nice.
My garage is nice. I love my garage.
Yeah.
I want one. So we found out, like, a week before we were going. Mm-hmm. I told my wife, I was like, hey, my company's sending me to the UK. And she could have actually came with me to the UK. All expenses paid. The only thing she would have had to pay was her plane ticket.
Okay.
But at the time, a plane ticket last minute to the UK was about $2,700.
Holy shit! That's your entire trip.
Our mortgage guy was like, "Do not fucking spend $2,700." We were like a week out from closing on our house, or maybe a month out from closing on our house. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Do not fucking spend that money."
That's when you say, "I got credit cards,"
and you don't put on.
Don't do that. No,
so before you buy a house, like you don't. Do
that was a joke. Don't.
And so he was like, "Yeah," he's like, "Don't." Do it. And so like, I was like, "Baby, I'm sorry." I was like, Yeah. And I
Going
mean,
solo.
if we had more time, we could have
Yeah.
figured out some things and like
Yeah, a week to figure it out though.
Yep.
So.
So it was very last minute, but yeah. And so like
I feel like too, if you applied for it and then you're like, nah, never mind, they would have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know.
I would have never said never mind.
Yeah, true. But
loved my wife to death, but yeah, that's a free trip.
I gotta go, baby.
Free trip to the UK.
It's
like,
work. I gotta go. Yeah,
it's work. And I'm doing air quotations right now. Yeah. It's work.
They're gonna fire me if I don't go right now.
And so they sent the email out with who was going on the trip or whatever. Mm-hmm. So up until like maybe 3 days or 4 days before we leave on this UK trip, Elephant gets hacked.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep. And so somebody breached our system and like
that's right.
Tried to steal a bunch of social security numbers, addresses, credit card information, and Elephant is losing their shit. Jeez. Like they shut down our entire system.
Wow.
Nobody was allowed to do anything. We all got paid to do nothing for about a week. Yeah.
And this is while you're in the UK.
No. This was right before I went to the UK. So like maybe 2 days prior to me going to the UK, like all of this shit goes down. And so I go to the UK, and what we're supposed to be doing over there is shadowing the UK person who has kind of our job. Okay. So like I would be shadowing a insurance appraiser for Admiral Insurance.
So you can learn how they do it.
Learn how they do it, learn how it's different, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Well, we get there, and Admiral does not want us in the building at all. They don't. Like, I mean, we went to the building and we met some people, but they did not want us connecting our laptops to their system.
You had computer herpes.
Yes.
They didn't want it.
They did not want it.
No.
And so they were pretty much like, hey, here's the company credit card. Go have a week-long vacation.
That is nuts.
Yes. It was the craziest thing. And like I have talked to everybody who's been on this trip. Yeah. Nobody has had the same experience.
No one else.
No, everybody else has had to report to the office, every day.
It was a work trip.
Yeah, and you would work from 7 to 3, and then you had from 3 to the rest of the night to do whatever you wanted to.
It was like legit.
And then the last 2 days of the trip, you got to go do whatever you wanted to. So everybody else who went only had 2 days to do what they wanted to. We had 7 days to do whatever we wanted to.
So you were there for a week, had a company credit card, you do whatever you wanted.
And so we stayed in Cardiff, which is a country in. Or no, I'm sorry. It's a town in Wales, which is a country in the UK.
Yeah, it's a country within their country.
Yes, it's a country, and it honestly, the culture over there is so crazy, man. It was the best time of my life.
Yeah, I want to go so bad.
We were staying like 2 blocks away from a castle.
Nuts.
Yeah, it was called Cardiff Castle.
They just have those all over there.
Honestly, they kind of do.
Cardiff Castle. Albert brought up a castle.
I don't think he went to the same one.
Not the same one?
Not the same one.
Okay. Yeah. He also went to the UK.
He did go to the UK.
2 guests in a row going to UK.
And so I got to tour Cardiff Castle. It was awesome. I'll show you photos here in a second. Please. It actually became a bunker in World War II. They converted the castle into actually a fort for World War II. Yeah. And had cannons sticking out of it and everything like insane. That. Got to go to a professional soccer game.
Nice.
Yeah, I
always wanted to go to one of those.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
Wasn't my thing.
No. You try what did they eat over there at soccer game? Like bog roll or something?
No, I tried haggis.
Ew.
Yeah, that was sheep's stomach.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was not bad.
Really? I'd eat it.
I closed my eyes and ate it. My favorite thing that I ate over there was called poutine.
I know poutine.
Yeah, it's like gravy. Fries and gravy.
Yeah. Canadians.
The crazy thing is they eat baked beans for breakfast.
That is nuts.
I never got that, even while I was there. So the hotel I was staying at, fun story actually. So we get there.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't eat beans for breakfast.
No, it was very weird. It would be so Elephant's like, hey man, we put you up in this super nice hotel. We're like, okay. Yeah. We get there. This is not a super nice hotel.
No,
it's like a hole in the wall. The AC didn't work.
Yeah. You were duped.
We were like, we called the head guy. We were like, yo, where the fuck did you send us? Like, this is a dog shit hotel. Yeah. And he came and checked it out. He's like, absolutely not.
He got you out of there?
Took us all out of there and took us to like the Ritz.
My hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And took us to like the nicest hotel in Cardiff and like got us all super nice rooms.
Yeah. Nice.
Again, that didn't happen to anybody else that went on this
nuts.
trip.
Yeah. So I wonder if they still stay in that. They probably don't stay in
They do. I think it got blacklisted after we kind of,
Yeah.
But so we took a train to London for the day. Got to do a tour of London with one of those double-decker.
That's cool. The buses.
Yeah. I drank a beer at the oldest bar in London.
That's nuts.
That was super cool.
It was there since like 1100.
I want to say it was 12 something. Insane. Was the initial. I'll have to go back. Don't quote me on that. I have to go back and look at it. I have a sign. I have a photo. Maybe it was 14 actually.
Okay, sounds
but the initial building was built in the 14th
Stuff's old
century.
As shit over there.
It's so old. Like again, I listened to the podcast last week with you and Art, and like,
we're hitting on
the U.S. is cool,
but it's only.
But the oldest thing we have here is 300 years old.
That's it.
Like
300, maybe you might get
over there. 300 years old is nothing
to
them.
It's been that was like last week.
Yep. But yeah, it was the craziest experience. London was awesome. I tried so many different beers while I was over there. Nice. I just had the time of my life.
That's so cool. So you were in London pretty much the whole time?
London, I was in London for 2 days.
Okay.
And then we just took a train each day.
Oh, okay, nice.
Because you can get anywhere in the whole country by train in like an hour. Honestly, the U.S. needs more trains.
We do need more trains. I agree.
Or just transit systems in general. Like, are really the only option. And people over there, like, I was talking to some random people. So I met a guy from like Spain who was part of Admiral.
Okay.
Met a guy from Canada, and like they don't not the guy from Canada, but the Spanish guy did not understand how big the U.S. is. Like, the state of Virginia is like the size of the UK.
It's unfathomable. Like, that I think that's part of the reason why we don't have so many like trains and public transit like as much as we do, because
it would be so much
geographically. Like,
and I mean, we do in the bigger cities, New York, Chicago. DC, Houston,
the metro areas will have it, but like here, like Richmond has no.
No, we have buses. Yeah, you would have to take a bus and trust the bus driver. Yeah, is not on drugs or high.
Yeah, I don't trust that. You'd have to kill me to get me on that bus.
Exactly. But yeah, eventually it would be very, very cool to see like a super speed transit system where you could maybe.
That would be cool.
Get to a lot of other places in the U.S. because right now you would have to fly pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine driving, but within about a 5-6 hour range, and honestly that gets you pretty far.
It does, 6 hours is pretty good range. That's about mine too. For me driving, if I have to go anywhere that's like over 5 or 6 hours, I'll get a hotel. Or I'll get a plane ticket. I mean.
Yeah, same. But yeah, the people over there I'm telling them, I'm like, I could drive 6 hours and never even.
They're like, what?
Yeah, on the same road I could drive for 6 hours. 95 from Virginia to Florida. You stay on the same road. It's like 14 hours, 15 hours. Like, and their mind is blown.
Yeah.
That also, all of them thought I had the coolest accent ever.
You do.
I think I sound weird as hell.
They all have cool accents.
I think I sounded weird as hell, but like every time I'd go into a bar, somebody would hear me and be like, "I'm buying you a drink, mate."
I'm buying you a drink, mate.
I'm like, well, okay,
thanks.
Like, and that was the complete wrong accent. I don't know what I just did.
You did great. I'm buying you a drink, mate.
It was not
Australian. Oh, nor.
But and then I went out one night with my boss, like my head of claims.
Yeah.
His name is Reese. Love him to death. He's like, yo, come on. And he just took me out. We went like bar hopping pretty much.
Are these all British guys that you're hanging out with?
Or? Yeah. So Reese is British, or I guess he would be. He lives in the UK. Would that be British?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think they're still going by that.
So he's like our head of claims. So he actually flies back and forth between the UK and the US. So like he was just here this past week we had our like annual award ceremony.
Yeah. Englander, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, he flies back and forth. Our CEO is something.
I think mine's Australian.
I'm not sure. I want to say he's Spanish, maybe.
Wow, okay.
I'm not 100. Don't quote me on that. Spanish. But yeah, we have a lot of foreign people that work for our company.
I kind of like that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting to learn about like where people are from and stuff like that. And honestly, your podcast last week hit the nail on the head. Traveling.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was a little worried. I didn't want to sound like too pretentious when we were talking about that. But like, you got to get out in the world.
And honestly, it doesn't take that much money.
No, it's not.
Don't go out to eat for a month or two.
Yeah.
Don't buy Starbucks. Don't like buy that $100 shirt.
Yeah, you can budget and
save up $1,000
and
go somewhere. Like
experience something.
Yeah,
it's all about not even like I would even say you don't even have to travel. Just like experiences.
Yeah, really like I saved up for a while for our honeymoon. We went to St. Lucia. It's the southernmost country before you get to South America.
So it's like below.
It's in like the Caribbean.
Okay. Yeah. It's an island.
It's an island. Okay. It's governed by the Queen of England.
Nice.
It is amazing. If you ever get a chance to go there, it is the most beautiful,
St. Lucia.
under the radar country. Like everybody obviously knows Hawaii is beautiful.
Cool.
But yeah, St. Lucia is
unreal,
and man.
It's in the Atlantic Ocean side.
Yeah. 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 So
I was gonna say the Gulf of Mexico.
The Gulf of America?
The Gulf of America, baby.
Fucking Trump, man. I love him. But yeah, man, again, elephant. And then, so they sent me to the UK, and then they recently sent us to Texas. And so we went to Texas and stayed at this fucking incredible ranch.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
No.
It was like maybe a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago. Yeah. Went to this incredible ranch and just got to like Everybody had their own golf cart that they could just go fuck around with.
That's awesome.
There was a gun range there with fully automatic weapons.
On the ranch?
On the ranch, yeah, that we stayed at.
With fully automatic weapons.
So I got to shoot a fully automatic MP5, paid for by Elephant Insurance.
Very cool.
And I mean, we could shoot as much as we wanted to and never get told, hey, you're shooting too much. Like,
that never
no, me and my buddy John, we probably spent 5 hours on this gun range, and I mean just
unlimited ammo.
Unlimited ammo.
What?
It was free. Nothing out of my pocket.
That's nuts. I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, and Elephant.
I don't know what that noise I made.
I'm sure Elephant got charged something for it.
Sure.
But I was never out of pocket, nothing for it.
That's incredible.
And so the place we went, a vendor that we use, when a vehicle gets totaled, we sell it through a third-party company called Copart. And so people will get on this auction website called Copart and bid on these wrecked cars.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you total a car, is that essentially like the insurance company buying whatever's left of your car?
Yep. Yeah. So we will give you. So when we run a valuation, we use a third-party system. We submit everything about your vehicle: the mileage, the year, the tire tread depth, how good your paint is, if your seats are stained or not, what radio's in the car. I mean, everything goes into a valuation. And they find what they think are comparable vehicles located within about a 50-mile range of your zip code. Okay. And
of the insurance owners.
Yeah. And they'll find comparable vehicles of the same make, same model, roughly the same mileage, and they'll average that out.
Okay.
And they'll say, hey, this vehicle is listed for $7,000. This vehicle is listed for $8,000. So we'll give you $7,500.
Okay.
And that's kind of how we value the vehicle. But then after we pay them out, we do take possession of the vehicle.
Okay. I was wondering what happens to cars.
Yeah. So we take possession of the totaled vehicle.
Yeah.
We move it to a lot, and then it goes up for auction.
Okay.
And people will buy it, and some people fix them. Yeah. Some people part them out. But the owner of that company is called Copart. That's where we went in Texas. It's called the Copart Ranch.
Yeah.
And they,
Ranch. That's so cool.
And it's like, I would say it's probably a 250-acre property.
Huge.
Had a private stocked pond on it that nobody ever fished.
Just
I was the first person that fished that pond in like 10 years.
I don't understand. What?
I don't know, but I almost went to Walmart while I was there and bought fishing gear because the fishing gear they had was from the 90s.
Oh shit!
And I still tore it up out there. I caught 2 citation bass.
Whoa!
Oh yeah.
One
was like 6 pounds 7 ounces, and the other one was like 5 pounds 8 ounces. 2 of the biggest fish I've ever caught in my life.
For real?
Yeah.
Damn.
And like I'm doing this, and like I'm blowing their mind that I'm catching these fish out of this pond. And the owner is like, "Hey man, send me these photos." He's like, "I want to post them on like the website and stuff like that." And
that spot's blown up now.
Oh yeah. And so like now, not now, but while we were there, like me, John, our buddy John, another guy that we know named Lawler. We would just fish there I got up early in the morning
to go out there.
We would have to be in our little like meeting by like 8.
I was gonna say, were you like working while you were out here?
Maybe 4 hours. So we would work from like 8 to 12. They would provide breakfast and lunch, and then they would also do dinner. But we were free after 12 to work or do whatever you wanted. I was caught up on work, so I got to go do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. Yeah. John, poor John. Was not having a good trip.
John's a hard worker.
He was sick as a dog.
Oh no!
And then
that fucker is sick every time he travels.
I think he needs some immune system.
He's sick every time he travels. He was sick when we went to Vegas. He was sick when y'all went to whatever that tropical Dominican Republic.
Yeah, DR. Yeah, we went to the DR too.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, he was just not having a good time, and I think it caused him to get backed up a little bit. So he didn't get to do. I mean, he still did a lot of fun stuff, but he didn't fish nearly as much as. I mean, I probably fished for 20 hours while I was there.
Man, I'm jealous. I got it. We got it.
And again, all on Elephant's dime, man. And like,
the best.
Hopefully, we're going back there not this year, but next.
Yeah.
So they try to do it like every 2 years.
Okay.
So we have a team of people in Texas that do my job, and then we have a team in Virginia that do my job. So I'm on the Virginia team.
Oh, okay.
And then the Texas team. So we try to get together once every 2 years, whether that be in Virginia or whether that be in Texas.
Nice.
So,
just kind of like a commingling.
Yeah, kind of a commingling thing, and then kind of just getting to meet your coworkers that you talk to all the time.
It's kind of like when you Fastenal would do like the sales meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a sales meeting.
Yep.
I love those things.
Yeah.
I used to hate them, but now that I'm like, especially like at McKesson, they were fun because I like that company.
Yeah.
And Performance Health, where I work now, they're fun.
I know you work at Performance Health.
Yeah.
You've told me that, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where I work. I've been there probably like 7 months now, 7, 8 months. So, but yeah, this is a good company too.
Yeah.
So like what we're saying earlier about having a good boss.
Yeah.
I've got the best boss I think
Cool.
I've ever had. Good
and now
company.
you took over a book of business, right? So you didn't have to go out and like establish new.
Nope. So I've got like I have so I sell like physical therapy supplies and equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I have pretty much like the big hospital systems around here. They were all already like signed up with us. So HCA, Bon Secours, Virginia Beach has like Centera.
Yep. Centera Health.
Yep. Yeah, they're all signed up with us already. So I basically just have to like answer emails and keep people happy.
That's pretty great, honestly.
Good to go. Yeah. My job, I really just pretty much answer emails.
Yeah.
Today I had to go to Bon Secours was building a new clinic.
Yep.
So I had a bunch of equipment get delivered today. So I had to go
put it together,
check things off. Yeah, put things together.
So were you just there all day?
Pretty much. Yeah, I got there I think at like 10, and I was there. I think I left at like 4.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, yeah, about 6 hours. Not too bad.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm
doing. That's Elephant Man in a nutshell. Yeah. It's a great company, love them to death.
Right on.
I see myself working there for hopefully a lot longer.
Think you'll retire?
I don't know if I'll retire there.
Yeah, maybe you'll do something else.
Yeah, I have kind of an idea at the back of my head of starting my own company, but it's in the very, very early stages.
Want to talk about it yet?
Well, I mean, we can talk about it if you want. It would be just pretty much doing what I do for Elephant.
Okay.
But
I think you mentioned this to me.
Yeah, before. I think we had briefly talked about it.
That would be cool to do.
Yeah, but so the insurance industry is moving to be like all virtual. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to have people on the road anymore.
No one like going out physically
inspecting. Yeah. But there's still a need for that.
Sure.
And so like
because you still got people trying to pull fast ones on you.
You do. Yeah. And the insurance company would much rather pay me one time to go out there and inspect it than have a salaried person that never has anything to inspect. So, but like I said, it's in the very early stages. Just talking to a guy who's done the same thing in Texas, he's kind of giving me a lot of advice.
I wonder if you could. That's kind of cool. I wonder if you could get contracted through Elephant.
I could, but I couldn't work for Elephant, so I would have to leave Elephant.
Be a conflict of interest.
But honestly, just the network of people that I've met through Elephant, through other insurance companies. Like I have contacts at Geico, Progressive, still my guy at Farm Bureau. Yeah. I mean, I have all these ends for all these companies that I feel like I could. And I mean, I'm making it sound a lot easier than it is. No. I'm going to have to put in a ton of work.
Definitely, yeah.
Before this gets off the ground at all. But it's an idea right now. It's an idea. Yeah. But everything starts as an idea.
Everything does. Yeah. Even this started as an idea. Dude, it's so much. Just getting something started and doing it all on your own is so difficult. Like this podcast was a pain.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even like hard to do. It's just.
I mean, we did one whole one and you lost it.
So. Yeah, okay. That is actually, you're right. You know what? This is hard as fuck. This is hard as shit.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool, man. I think it's
But I do think we reviewed the stats right before we got here. 75 people, 78 people,
something like that.
Listen to the first one.
No. Listen, maybe we'll say 60.
Well, it was like 48 on Spotify,
and then
40,
like 28
or 28 on YouTube.
And then I also got Amazon Music, which I didn't look at, and Apple Music, which I did think I had one person on Apple.
Okay, so I'd say I'm gonna go out on them 100 people.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, for your first one, I'd say that's pretty good.
You got one more thing though that I want to talk about that you do. You do this, so you're working Elephant, and you're doing possibly thinking about doing that on the side in the future. Right now, you're doing something on the side.
So I'm just. This is gonna sound bad. I like money.
Yeah,
I like having
money is cool.
I like being able to put X amount of dollars into my retirement account, and then I like having X amount of dollars to go just below. Mm-hmm. And just, go out to dinner, go out with friends, do stuff.
You got to have fuck around money.
Yeah, you got to have fuck around money. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if I budgeted a lot better, I could have fuck around money and only have one job.
I don't have fuck around money right now. That's why I'm doing this.
Exactly. Everything is just so expensive right now, man. It's just nice to have a cushion.
It is, yeah.
And be able to do stuff with it. Exactly.
Through the roof right now.
And it's everything $6. I make at the second job, which I'm about to explain, is all just play money. Yeah. It's all like
whatever you want.
Whatever I want to do. And whether that be me save up for a month and buy something big or, whatever. Yeah. But my part-time job at the moment is working for a funeral home.
Nice. Very cool.
Picking up deceased people.
Local funeral home.
Yep, it is a local funeral home. They have 4 branches. And I work for pretty much all 4 of them.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which one.
Yeah, so I work out of the Petersburg location, but I bring people back for every funeral home.
Okay. Yeah. And so working at these funeral homes, what's your job title?
I'm a body removal technician.
Right on.
Is the proper term for it.
Very interesting.
It is the craziest job I've ever had in my life.
I can imagine. How did you stumble upon this?
I stumbled upon it. We were living with the in-laws while we were building the house, and I was so freaking bored. Yeah. Like, it's weird being a grown man, not having your own space to go do something.
Yeah.
And love my in-laws to death,
of course.
but I
Great
just
folks.
had to get out of their house.
I get that. I think everybody understands that.
And so my buddy at the time, Benjamin, was like, "Hey man, are you interested in some part-time work?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Always interested in part-time work." He was like, "Well, I work for a funeral home, and when somebody dies, we go pick them up, and we simply pick them up and take them back to the funeral home."
Pretty straightforward.
I was like, "Sounds easy enough. It's like a heavy duffel bag."
Yeah.
I was like, "I'll do that."
You don't have to see.
So I went to the funeral home, interviewed for the position. They were like, "Do you own a suit?" I was like, "I do." And they were like, "You start tomorrow." And
right on.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. And like, people laugh all the time. Like, yeah, I pick up dead people. They're like,
but
what?
Yeah, I mean, that's why this also, let's not forget this, that this is what sparked my idea for this podcast too.
Was my side job.
You picking up your side job was what I wanted to start this podcast.
A lot of funeral homes don't advertise that this is an actual position. So if you're ever, to anybody listening, I don't know all three of you, if you're ever interested in this, simply go to a local funeral home near you and ask about, are they hiring body removal technicians?
Just ask.
They will never post that there is a job available under that position. Okay. They will never. You'll never see it on Indeed. You'll never go on a company's website.
I wondered. Yeah, I mean, I think
not a job that's posted.
Pretty sure after you told me this, I went and looked on like LinkedIn or whatever, or Indeed or whatever. Yep. I didn't see it.
You can find a couple reviews, but you'll never find an application to turn in. And so I would say 70% of what we do is people over the age of 80 who are on like a hospice care.
Sure. Oh, okay. Yep. So it's like going to
going to nursing homes, like a personal residence where somebody has like a nurse come there. And so 70% of the people that we pick up are old. And again, it's not bad. You slide them over, put them in a bag, and take them back to the funeral home. Yeah. The other 30%, however, are the murders, suicides, the car accidents,
the nasty stuff.
That's
what I wanted to.
Which my friend Benjamin did not tell me.
Yeah.
He made it sound like I was only going to be picking up people from hospitals and like nursing homes.
He duped you.
He didn't. He might have said something. He might have said something, but all I saw was dollar signs. I'm like, I get paid how much for each person I pick up? Bet. Sign me up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. For the record, I would have no qualms about doing this. Exactly. I would do it for you 100%.
Yeah. A bunch of my friends now that I do it, they're like, "Hey, if there's ever an opening, you let me know."
Yeah. Like
our friend Danny. He wants to. So hopefully within the next couple of months we'll have an opening. And
that'd be cool. I'm sending him a text. Just go to your local funeral home and see if they got a.
But it is crazy. I have seen the craziest of car accidents. I had a murder-suicide.
That's got to be tough.
In Petersburg a few months ago where a lady got into an altercation with her boyfriend for taking the car.
Oh, my God.
I guess he wasn't supposed to have the car. He took the car when he wasn't supposed to. She stabbed him.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and then went and got a gun and just shot herself.
Oh, no.
Yep, right in her front yard. The guy who got stabbed was transferred to a hospital, and I believe he lived.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% on that, she passed away, and I had to go pick her up in her front yard.
That's so sad. Yeah. Damn, man.
I've seen more suicides than I can count.
Yeah.
The first one got me.
That's why
I came home and just kind of locked myself in a room and thought about stuff. I was like, and this is gonna sound crazy, but if anybody listening is going through some shit, there's always people to talk to.
That is true.
You do not have to go out that way.
That's a good message. I like that. Yeah.
Seeing a lot of it, like that's never the way out. Like no matter how hard stuff is, like there's always somebody to talk to. So before you do that, reach out to somebody. That being said, we've had a lady walk 2 miles into the woods. She pulled off she went to the grocery store, went shopping, pulled off the road, walked 2 miles in the woods, and hung herself on a tree.
After going shopping, get groceries. Man, dude.
I don't know the backstory about. That's the thing. I don't really get the backstory on why these things happen. You just see the end result.
That's gotta be tough sometimes.
The craziest and hardest part of my job are the kids, especially now being a new father.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
I don't even know what to say.
I like to think I'm a tough man, but I have cried multiple times after picking up kids.
Yeah, dude can only take so much.
Yep. And my wife will sometimes ask details and stuff like that, but most of the time she doesn't want to know. Oh yeah, no, right, yeah. It's crazy. I've had animal attacks. I've had
Like, what do you mean?
A bear.
Oh, bear got somebody?
Yep, bear got somebody. Man. I've had shootings. I've had car accidents are the craziest, man. Like, yeah, somebody's just driving to work and then goes off the road and
it scares the fuck out of me.
Hits a fucking tree.
We're
man.
just big bags of jelly, and it bothers me.
We are, and
I think about that a lot.
Picked up limbs on the side of the road.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, man? Like, is this worth the money I'm being paid?
Yeah.
But I mean, somebody has to do the job.
True. That is true.
Like, it's kind of a weird mindset to profit from somebody's death. Like, that took me a minute to get over.
Yeah.
Was like, hey, I'm making money and this person is dead. Like,
but it's true. That'd take you a minute. But you're also like, you're performing a service.
I am. And like, if I didn't do it, somebody else is gonna have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm very professional about it. I mean, every time we go out, we are in a full suit, tie, hair slicked back, super professional, trim, clean cut. And I mean, we're the first person that the family normally reacts to and talks to, and has that initial, So I mean, we're kind of the face of the funeral home.
Okay.
And so we kind of present like a good image, and like, you kind of have to be. So, but yeah, it's the craziest.
I can't even imagine like
craziest job ever.
What a part-time job.
Yeah. So we typically, what I do is I typically work like overnight. So I'll do like a 7 p.m. to a 7 a.m. shift. Mm-hmm. And so if anybody passes away in that time, I go either to the hospital, to their home.
So you're on call most of the time.
Yeah. Okay. So just on call. So if I can be on call and nobody passes away, I'll never get called out.
Okay. And you don't get paid?
Yeah. So we get we get a paid on-call fee.
Okay.
So even if we don't pick anybody up, we still get
nice.
Yeah.
You get a little,
get a little something.
A little something.
But the real money is when and I mean, there's some nights where I've picked up 5.
Whoa, that's a busy night.
Yeah, the busiest one I ever had. I picked up 8 in a day.
Holy fuck!
One time,
What happened that day?
Yeah, it was all different.
Okay.
Nursing, and believe it or not, man, the weather plays a huge factor. When it gets from warm to cold, when that first cold snap hits, man,
takes people out.
What?
Dude. Yep. Watch out, old people.
And I started doing this job like mid-COVID.
Ooh, that had to have been.
And I mean, it was busy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Were there? Huh. Yeah.
It was very, very
pretty busy during the COVID times. Did you have to during COVID times? Did you wear big, not like suit and tie, but like a Tyvek suit and like?
So we still to this day wear.
Oh, do you? Really?
Yeah. So we get
Wait, when you said suit earlier, you mean like suit and tie?
I mean suit and tie.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So if we are going to a house to pick somebody up, we're full suit and tie.
Okay.
Yep. 3-piece suit, nice tie.
I got you.
Nice shoes, clean cut.
Yeah.
Now there's situations with people who die that don't have family members, and then nobody knows that they have died.
Ooh. And
so they will be in their house for 3-4 weeks before we find them.
What the? What's like?
A lot of times there will be a smell.
Yeah.
And then the neighbor will say, "Hey, there's a smell.
Something's going on over there.
Can I get a welfare check?"
Yeah.
Police or fire will come over and then find the person.
And then they call old Eli.
Yep, they call old Eli.
Oh, Eli.
And then in those instances, we will do a full Tyvek suit.
Yeah.
Rubber shoes, respirator, rubber gloves. I mean, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Just because. Yeah.
Man. Well, that's a tough job. Someone's got to do it, like you said.
Yeah. Someone has to do it. Craziest. I'll tell you my craziest story. I have a couple, but this one just stands out. Yeah, I was like maybe 2 weeks on the job. We get a call for a residence, and most of the time, if you get a call at a residence, it's not going to be bad.
Not going to be bad.
Not going to be bad. Okay. 10% of the calls are bad.
Okay.
To residences, 90% are very easy. Yep. So we get a call, and this guy's like, "Hey, my neighbor is meticulous about his grass, and it hasn't been cut in about 3 weeks." And he's like, "Hey, can you just go check on him?"
Yeah.
And so the cops went over there, checked on him, found him in the backyard. He was cutting his grass and then fell off the mower, had a heart attack, and just was laying there in the backyard. He was on like 5 acres in Prince George County. Yeah. So
Prince George.
Prince George's kind of the middle of nowhere. It's better, but still 5 acres. Nobody's gonna smell you or see you for
20 to 30 minutes from like a Walmart. I'd say, but
yep. And so we get there, and it had been about 2 weeks. And I mean, he was picked clean by the buzzards.
I was gonna ask if you've ever was he pretty skeletal at that point?
He was all skeleton. There was not anything left on him skin wise.
That had to have been pretty jarring.
It was the easiest removal I've ever had.
That's sure.
Up. Oh yeah. So a lot of times police calls, we have to suit up just so we don't leave any evidence on the person. And in that situation, we don't take them back to the funeral home. We are actually we're a third-party company for the
okay.
medical examiner in Richmond.
Oh, so you taking like the coroner?
Yep. So we are the coroner technically.
Oh, you're the coroner.
We are the coroner.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we take them to the coroner is the fancy name for the person that picks up the body. Medical examiner is the person you're thinking of who
like
does the autopsy.
Yeah.
That's the medical examiner.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so
the coroner is strictly the person who just picks them up and transports them.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Nice.
Cool.
But
yeah.
So when I title this episode, should I call you a coroner or body removal technician? What do you want to be called? What sounds cooler?
What's the most clickbait title we can do? I pick up dead people. Like
probably coroner. Yeah. Well, it'll be episode 2, and then whatever.
Let's do body removal technician.
Body removal technician.
I feel like you might get a lot.
Probably right.
Yeah, I feel like you might get a lot. And they're gonna be like listening to me, like, yeah, this dude works at a fucking.
You're like, yeah,
he titled this wrong. Like, you gotta do it.
All right, yeah,
you gotta do it.
All right, well, we'll name it body removal technician.
You can just do insurance appraiser /
there you
body
go.
removal technician.
I'll do Airforce / I'll do slashes.
Jack of all trades.
There you go. Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
I'll figure out what I'll name.
Yeah, it's got to be something good.
What was your title in Air Force again?
Aircraft maintenance technician.
That's a fucking cool title too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll think about it.
All right.
I'm going to title it something though.
Yeah.
But, all right, man. Well, I think that's about all I had. Anything else?
No, you were just curious about like the flipping the vehicles and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that for a second?
I mean, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Right, I just buy stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Well, I don't feel like we should talk about it. No, I want to hear it. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, so I mean, I like tinkering. I love.
So you mentioned you work with your hands and you like cars.
Yep, I love engines. I love anything with a motor. Honestly, like this past week, I flipped a dirt bike.
Nice.
I went.
That's right. Yeah. Wait, what was that other? You had like a Honda or something, didn't you? Like a week ago?
Oh,
yes.
That was a Kawasaki.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I bought it.
I don't even think.
I rode it twice.
I don't even remember hearing about this. Like I think
I tore up my whole backyard riding this dirt bike.
That's awesome.
And it was like Sellin,
bro. That cool. That's very cool.
I made like $500 in 2 days.
Nice. Just
tinkering around in my garage.
Yeah. What'd you pick that dirt bike up for?
$800.
$800
was what and I sold it for 13.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
In 2 days. And I might have put $50 into it.
Yeah.
I mean,
where'd you figure out where'd you get your mechanical inclinations from? Like, where'd you figure out?
Honestly,
because I like cars and I'd like to learn how to work.
I really, really hate to say this. I really, really hate to say this, but my biological dad was a big motorcycle guy.
All right.
And he's no longer in my life. I hate that motherfucker.
Sure.
But I did get my mechanical, and honestly, he wasn't even that good of a mechanic.
Yeah.
He rigged stuff.
Right.
Like, he was not a good mechanic.
Yeah.
He would jerry rig it, and he would just get it bare minimum working.
Just get it to work.
And I always looked at his work and I'm like, I want to do better than that.
Yeah. What the fuck is that?
And then honestly,
sparking.
From a super young age, man, when I was into bicycles, I would
you'd take your
I would take my bikes apart. I would have 6 or 7 bicycles at a time.
You'd take
them all apart, switch the wheels, switch the parts.
That's cool.
Yeah. And just do that. And then when I got my driver's license, it turned into cars.
Nice.
And I think me and my wife sat down and counted.
Dude, it's as long as I've known you. It's been
I want to say it's over 50 cars.
I believe
that I have had since I got my driver's license.
Yeah. If I met you in 2015, we'll say, it's 10 years. Yeah, I'd say at least probably 10 cars a year? 6 to 10 cars a year?
I try to flip 4 or 5 cars a year.
Okay. I oversold it.
I have not. Last year, I think I did 4.
Yeah.
This year, I'm 2 motorcycles already.
Right.
And it's February.
And you just had a kid.
Also. I did just have a kid. That has been the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't mind slowing down at all for her. Luckily, I am blessed. I get to stay home with her.
Yeah.
During the week.
All my bros are having kids right now, and I'm a little jealous of everybody. I saw.
Dude, it's the craziest thing to look at this little human that you made. And I mean, me and my wife had it a little different. We didn't conceive naturally.
Right.
So we tried for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It never happened for us. So we did fertility treatment.
Yeah.
And then finally did IVF. And our IVF treatment worked on the first time. So we did, she's going to kick me if I'm wrong on this, but I want to say we did 2 rounds of what they call IUI, which is a different type of fertility treatment. Either one of those worked. And then we did IVF, which is the better. It's the more guaranteed one.
In vitro fertilization.
In vitro fertilization.
Nailed that.
IUI stands for
I don't have any idea.
Something.
Actually, probably in utero insemination. I bet is what it is.
Maybe.
If I just said that.
Google that real quick because I actually kind of want to know what IUI means because
I bet you.
I know what it means, but I'm not 100% certain on what it means. But,
okay, I'm gonna look it up.
But anyway, so we did IVF. It took on the first time my wife handled being pregnant like a fucking champ. She never got sick one time.
Yeah.
She worked out up until she was
really, for real, did.
Yeah, she worked out until she was about 8.5 months pregnant.
That's wild.
And I think towards the very end, like she was like, "Hey, I kind of need to like calm down a little bit."
Yeah, she was doing like line dancing and stuff like every week.
She still goes line dancing
That's
weekly.
nuts. I don't know if she missed like what 1 week of line dancing.
I think so, 1 week. Yeah.
Also, your boy nailed it on that. In uterine insemination.
Hey, proud of you.
I said in utero, but I was close enough.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
But yeah, it has been the craziest thing. Like I said, she was a trooper, man. Degree. She handled pregnancy like a fucking champ.
Yeah, I'd be a bitch about it the whole time.
And then again, 2 weeks after she gave birth, she was fucking back in the gym.
Insane. Like she's
crushing that shit.
Bounced back like she
bounced back so quick.
She's good. I mean, yeah.
Literally, if you look at her, you can't even tell she had a fucking baby.
Not a clue.
It's
and
crazy.
she's like what 5'2", 5 foot. She's a little thing.
She is very short.
She's a little thing, and you can't tell. I'm sorry if I
guessed.
I'm sorry. It seems like
she
you
gives
might
me
have done
all the time. So, like, baby, how big does this look?
2, 3, 4. Whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it has been the biggest challenge so far in my. I'm going to say 30 years on this planet because I'll be 30 this year. But my 30 years, this has been the biggest challenge and the best challenge. It is having a kid, and honestly, I didn't used to want kids.
Yeah.
Like, I come from a very big family. I have 9 biological brothers and sisters.
That's a fuck ton.
And then when I was 14 or 15, I was actually adopted by my best friend's family.
Nice. So you got another family.
And so I have a whole nother family.
Wow.
Yeah. And
it's a big fucking family.
And I was just looking one day, I was like, man, do I want kids? Like,
I feel that.
I come from such a big family. Like, I can borrow a niece or nephew anytime I want.
I got them if they're
And then I got to thinking, I was like, yeah, let's do this thing. So
nice.
And we did it, man. And like I said, it has been the best thing ever. And so just look at this little human that y'all created.
It's very cool, and I can see you both in her. Like, it's cool.
See, I only see my wife in her.
Oh, really? See, I see you both.
Yeah,
I like that about all my literally every one of my best friends is having kids right now. So in each of their kids, I can totally see my friends in their. Like, it's nuts.
It's gonna be cool in 10 years.
Yeah,
when
for sure.
They start getting little. And I say 10 years, but they get personalities when they're 3 or 4, but they're shitheads. So when they're 10 and I don't have to change diapers no more, and they can hold a physical conversation with an adult.
There you go,
and they can say yes sir, no, no sir, yes ma'am, all that stuff. When they can be respectful.
Those are the fun years.
Yeah, those are the fun years.
This is the groundwork years.
Yeah.
This is the groundwork
so leading up to that, it's a lot, man, and staying home with her during the week and working, it's a challenge, but I'm getting it done.
Yeah, you seem to be doing all right with it.
Yeah,
so.
I love it.
Right on, man. Well, all right. Goodbye.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.